Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Friday, July 31st, 2026. And, for most of you, I have some bad news. For some of you, it may be good news. I don't know. I realize that every house guest has fans. So, let's talk about last night's eviction. We'll talk about who won head of household and what that likely means. Now, I want you to understand, I have not watched the feeds this morning, and I went to bed early last night. I actually went to bed about, technically 10 p.m. Big Brother time. So when I went to bed, the head of household competition was going on. So, not that there was hours of feeds after I went to bed, but I didn't see who won the head of household until a couple of hours ago, hour and a half ago maybe. It's about 8:45 in the Big Brother house, 11:45 here on the eastern side of the country, or the mid-eastern, technically called the Midwest in Indiana, right? Okay, I'm rambling. I'm sorry. Look, it's going to be a short one here because I got up, turned on my phone, scrolled, and my Big Brother blue sky timeline was not happy. And then I found out why. I'm like, well, that probably means one of a handful of people won head of household. And actually, let me think. My blue sky timeline would have been happy if anyone but two people. It wouldn't have been happy, but it wouldn't have been as upset. There was two people that could win that would have really ticked off my blue sky timeline. So that would be either Haley or Chuck, because Kamu would have been the third, but he is head of household, so he couldn't win it. I understand that if Dee or Devins or Angela had won it, the blue sky timeline would have been a bit grumpy, but some people would have been okay with it because they're fans of them, and they're like, well, it could be worse. It could have been Haley or Chuck. Well, it was worse. So Haley is your head of household for the week, which means we went from Kamu to Haley. And I haven't seen the actual video yet. I haven't gone back to find video snippets from her post HOH crowning reactions and talks. I've only read what I've read, and I probably will go back to catch some of it. I did see her reading her head of household letter where she kind of ripped into people, like, if you've been causing me trouble the past few weeks, don't expect any kindness from me. And then laughing and joking, I don't know. Let me take a step back. Now you know who won head of household. Let's take a step back and talk about last night's episode briefly, because we'll be moved on from that right away. Last night's episode, we saw the fallout from the power veto ceremony, which frankly I was half watching because I was having computer problems and trying to eat my dinner before we got things going. So it ended up being an okay episode, I suppose. I don't know. It depends. Again, it was not a happy week with Kamu being head of household and nominating people that overall were better liked than him by the majority of the viewers. I don't think there's a majority. Who knows? But the blockbuster competition went kind of as I expected, with Latrice not standing a chance. There was a point system. It was basically a Jenga, a version of Jenga, except for instead of blocks, they were pulling video cassettes out from a display. But the display was dependent on the video cassettes to stay stable, so you could only pull out a certain number of video cassettes, and then depositing them in a Dropbox. which some of us used to have to do when we were returning movies to the video store back in the day. And the person who got the most in the drop box before their tower tumbled, if it tumbled at all, was the winner. And Latrice got 2. In the practice round that Julie did on Instagram, she got, I think, 5 or maybe 6, and she had 2, I'm going to call them interns, that played with her, and they got like 8 and 9, or 9 and 9. I think they both got 9, but one of their towers fell earlier. One of their stacks fell sooner than the other one, and that was the determining factor. Actually, it was the one that got to 9 first, I guess, that won in the fake game that they played. As it happened, and of course, since their game lives are on the line, Mallory and Jason were a bit more cautious about their game, and they went a bit slower. But really, Mallory got 8, and Mallory was running towards the bin with her 9th, and Jason got 7 and was trying to put his tape in to get his 8th when time ran out. Now, in the end, even if Jason had gotten it in, he would have had 8, and Mallory had 8, but Mallory had 8 sooner, so Mallory would have won. And Mallory did win. So Mallory was off the block. The voting went more boring than I expected, and every single house guest voted to get rid of Jason. And so Jason was evicted 12-0. So we've had a 13-1 or a 12-1, 13-0. I mean, we've had landslide votes, and I don't know what's going to happen this week. But Jason went out and talked to Julie. Julie had a teapot in hand and banged it. Jason left his teapot inside, said, somebody should use this to call out the people. I wonder if Jason wanted to take his teapot out with him and they wouldn't let him. I don't know. But he left it. He should have taken it with him. Maybe they'll give it to him at the end of the season. But I could also see, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. So that's that. The show left before we even got to the head of household. The feeds did come back immediately from at the end of the show. And I went around doing housework while listening to the quad cam in my earbuds, and really nothing was happening. There was nothing big going on while they were waiting to play the head of household competition. And I don't have any details on what the head of household competition was, although I did see an image of Haley after they won, and they were dressed up in costumes, and someone posted, the one I saw, whoever posted it said, she looks like Mary Poppins, and she kind of did. A much more muscular, buff Mary Poppins, but Mary Poppins nonetheless. So, Haley is head of household. What does this mean? Well, I guess she might actually put up one of her alliance mates. What I'm seeing in the timeline was that her likely nominees are Taylor and Melody, which are not in her alliance, and then Drew. And it sounds like she wants to put up Drew in part because she doesn't want to put up 3 women, because Latrice is her alternate. And she really doesn't like Latrice at all. She wants Latrice gone. So I guess she's making a game choice to keep Latrice because she's not a strong player. She'll put up with her in her world. But she. So it seems like the odds are very high that we lose another lady this week. I say lose another. We've already lost 2 men in a row. And the other problem was, and I need to look at my cast list here. So pardon me while I very carefully glance at my cast list and look at how many men are left and how many men that are left are in the actual crossover alliance, or I'm sorry, the Tool Shed Industries alliance. And that is where we get the problem for Haley, in that she only has 1 male left in the house that isn't in the tool shed industries. And that would be Yash. So that was kind of the one that people thought that she would put up if she was going to put up a guy. And yet she's going to go straight forward and make the move on Drew. Now, maybe she'll take the angle that Drew is affiliated with Melody and he wants to keep, her from saving Melody. Him from saving Melody? I don't know. Not sure. I'm really stretching this puppy out here because it's not going to be an entertaining week in my world. I don't know how your world's going to go, but in my world, I thought we were going to be free of the negative energy of Kamu as head of household. And I mean, that was her plan according to last night, but I don't know who all she talked to. And I'm really wondering if she'll get talked out of that and Yash might go up. However, they may be willing to say, well, let Haley break up the crossover alliance or the tool shed alliance. Let her be the one to do it. And so that, Dee and Devins can be like, it wasn't us, it was Haley. How can you control Haley? And I don't think Devin's going to get evicted. Or not Devins, Drew is going to get evicted. I'm fairly certain that it's going to be Taylor, Melody, or Latrice that will get voted out on next Thursday. So the other thing we have going on is the time capsule. I strongly think it's going to be Dee that gets it. Voting is ending in the next, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Yeah, 4 minutes. So you're not going to have a chance to vote if you're listening to this. It's already ended. But I do truly think that Dee will get it. Although Julie did tell Jason that he was always in the top 3 for the votes. And I would assume that includes this week. So I don't know. I don't know between Dee and Angela who wasn't getting, when that would have just been the first week. That would imply, I would assume that the voting the first week was Angela, Devins, and Jason, and Dee maybe fourth. And then Devins got it the second week, and that would have been Devins and Jason, and I don't know who. Maybe Dee. It's hard to say. I think the Survivor crowd was voting Devins first, but I do think that enough of them will switch over to voting Devins first, and I do think that enough of them will switch over to voting Dee now that I think Dee's going to get it today. That's my guess. I will be very surprised if anybody else gets it over Dee since Angela's already got it. But we'll find out. Somehow, maybe. Dee's promised to tell Devins, and only Devins. So, and I think she will, or she'll get a punishment. I also think that this is going to be a punishment week. I don't think it's going to be a power. And I realize that, in theory, it's not random, but there's no way to prove it doesn't happen, right? Maybe there's a standards person, practices and standards or whatever they're called, standing in the control room while the person is spinning and pressing the button. But again, I just think it's going to be a costume. Imagine Dee and Angela or Dee and Haley. There you go. If you want to make someone suffer, make Dee chain herself to Haley for the week. That would make the week more tolerable because another power wouldn't be given out and it would be a pain in the butt for Haley to do it. But maybe they'll say the head of household is immune from punishment, so Dee would have to pick someone else and she would pick, I don't know who. I'm not even going to try to guess because it's all speculation. And that's one punishment out of 5 that are left. So, all right. That is what I got for you guys today. I will let you know tomorrow how things fall out, who Haley's actual nominations end up being, who won the time capsule, and maybe we'll do it before the Power Veto, but after the Power Veto selection, so we'll know who's has the opportunity to play. Plus, there'll be lots of stuff to talk about. We'll get a much better feel for what's going on with the Crossover Alliance, with the Toolshed Alliance, right? But that's it for now. So I hope you have a good weekend if you don't listen to me over the weekend. I hope you have a good Friday. And, the end of July, we're hitting into August. And my wife asked me this morning how much longer Big Brother is. So that's how that's going. It's fun, yes. And I also had my first dream. I had my first Big Brother dream. I was not in the house, but I was talking to alumni. Yeah, really weird. It was a weird dream. I'm not even going to try to explain it. But I was talking to some Big Brother alumni, but not in the Big Brother house. So the Big Brother dreams have started for me, which means I've been watching too much Big Brother. One last note, non-Big Brother. Traders Australia starts next week. There's a little bright side to the day when I realize that Traders Australia will kick off. I think it's probably 2 episodes a week, so it's not going to be a lot, but it's better than nothing. So for at least 2 hours a week, or for 2 hours next week, I will not have to think about Haley being head of household, and this season shaping up to be one of those seasons that may go down as, that season. It's been interesting. All right, folks, that's it. I'm out of here. Have a good, happy Friday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Be well. Take care. Bye-bye.